The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Hello everyone, welcome to our show, Shalom from Aleph Tree. Now we're going to do the part 2 with my teacher, Serge Kuptsov, to talk about the Messianic Judaism.
Yeah, we stopped Act 15.
Yes,
yeah,
Acts 15.
To figure out who is in Act 15 and Paul and all the guys who are there, what they're talking. We already been talking that Gentiles, it's a firmly, first century, it's applies to 10 tribes. 10 tribes, and those who joined them, you know. That's one group of Judea. Mosaic standing on the Mosaic law, followers Mashiach.
Yes.
You know, and we can read in 1 Peter, yeah, we read, and the Pharisees who
No, the Acts actually написано, the sect of Pharisees who had, okay, just a second. Yeah, okay, let me just report to the God, done with them. But some of the sect of the Pharisees who had believed stood up, saying it's necessary to circumcise them and to direct them to observe the law of Moses.
Yes, look.
Yeah.
We have believers who believe in Yeshua as a Mashiach, who is the Pharisees.
Yep.
They are
observe the law.
Most funny thing which today evangelicals preaching that Jerusalem church. Look,
the Jerusalem church.
The Pharisees in Jerusalem church.
Yeah. When they arrived at Jerusalem, they were received by the church.
Oh, look, that's biggest lie which can be
incorrect.
Or let's figure out. Pharisees came to the Jerusalem church.
Yeah.
Which is staying on the Moses law.
Yeah.
Because they were against, they were for the circumcision, all Gentiles coming in.
Yes.
Standing firmly on the Moses law. And the Pharisees were there. I give you good news for you to know. The Paul always been or late, but Paul was the followers of Pharisees. In you call Mashiach not Yeshua, but Jesus. Jesus was a follower.
He was a Pharisee.
Following for.
Yeah.
But the conflict were in between the Pharisees
and Sadducees.
The different.
Okay.
Conflict in between Jesus and Pharisees that Goyims can get in.
Yes.
Goyims can't get in because we have there is a look again Jerusalem church.
Yeah.
What a
went
nonsense!
To Jerusalem,
what a nonsense! Because they were a Messianic congregation, and some Pharisees believed that Yeshua is a Mashiach. Yeshua is a Mashiach, and they follow. Some of them never. Sadducees were deadly against, because Sadducees were friends with Rome, and they used Moses' law and covenant like to rule Israel only.
Yeah.
They were corrupted and everything. Pharisees, the problem was for the new. Shortly speaking, Paul, Peter, and all apostles, they've been looking how to resolve the huge millennium or all-time situation, how to join lost 10 tribes, who been lost and already had a different vocabulary.
Yes.
10 tribes, lexicon, mental lexicon.
Because they're assimilated.
The psychological kind of result of reasoning, whatever, you know. They didn't, they had everything different. already. They've been brothers and sisters centuries ago, you know, in 12 tribes, when they were to 12 tribes. But then, about 700 or 800 years in separation, and they were different. How to put everything together? You know, there was a in the apostle thinking, because in Roman's empire there was about 7 million ex-Hebrew people, you know, Hebrew people. In Rome only was 1 million, but in whole Judah was a 600 or whatever, you know, only. They were interesting to get this massive people, you know, together. That's a global thing to build new. Everything we're reading there is everything new.
Everything new.
One new man. How to put this group of people, Gentiles who are 10 tribes. Judeans say no. They totally must be in Moses
law,
Moses covenant and law.
Moses covenant.
But Peter saying no, the God gave them Holy Spirit, that there's the same. Let's make easier.
Yes, yeah.
You know, easy. And you can read, and after Moses, every Saturday they can get in every Saturday.
After Moses, every Saturday we're going to for Shabbat and synagogue and learn.
Because how they can get this 7 million people, look, joined, and under Moses' law, when 3 times you should be where? 3 times you should be on a feast.
On a feast, you know, the high feast, you know.
Who is from 7 million people in the tribes? The high priest to serve in the temple.
In the temple.
Because each tribe must give a high priest. That's just the big things, you know. But you should travel to Jerusalem, you know, from all the things. There's many things how to put everything together. And it was 47, 49, somewhere Acts 15. Talking about this. Something else at the beginning.
What do you want to do?
Something else.
For the 15? From Judea, no?
Again, in 15, there is brethren, which is only was among Jewish people. Nobody would call Roman soldiers brothers or goyim. You should remember, for the Jewish people in Judea, and Paul, who'd never been born in Judea, he was born in Turkey, you know, but he grew up, I think, because he was studying, Lord was Gamaliel and everything, you know. Mentality of it, and Paul, I would say Paul knew 2 sides of things. That's why God chose him, you know, to go and dig to 10 tribes to bring them. They knew they call only in between themselves, in between Hebrew tribe, they call themselves brothers.
Among them.
You know, among them. And now we know that restoration of tabernacle is not restoration of church. It never will be. It's the restoration of 12 tribes, Gentiles and Judeans together. Absolutely different. Absolutely different. You know, people, I would say. You know, people, absolutely different. And group. And we have another group. We have a goyims, other nations. There is written, so goyims would be seeing tabernacle restored of 12 tribes. Rebuilt, and they will be joined.
They will have access.
And we know Aaron was inaugurated when tabernacle was built. If tabernacle will be rebuilt, Yeshua will come second time. For inauguration, yes? And
So the
about
old
what
Gentiles
church
who
we're
called by
talk-
my name.
about what the church we're talking, about what church we're talking, you know. And we see 3 groups to put together. It's a huge business. It's a huge business for 3 groups to put together. I wrote somewhere, for future Israel, yeah, future Hebrew nation.
Yes, yeah.
Of which is in Ephesians 1, new man, Commonwealth of Israel, which is a different nation through the Manasseh and Ephraim.
Yeah, in Ephraim.
10 tribe Gentiles and Judeans. And there is a huge problem was that's what they never talking about any Gentiles, unbelievers of the rest of the world, how we bring, but we're building churches, especially church in Jerusalem. We would love up to the end of our lives about this statement. Okay, very different, very different. That's as a one new man. It's a very difficult to put together, and they talking about this. They trying to understand how to make it the things, and there is politics.
Yeah.
No, there is politics. Yeah, they building new state.
Yeah,
New state. And I'm saying sometimes, evangelical, maybe you can go sooner as you can to heaven. Leave us here. We will be building Commonwealth of Israel, because Bible said so. We should build
yes,
on the planet
Earth.
You know?
Yes.
And of course, this must be engrafted into 12 tribes.
Yep.
That's what they should learn Moses' law, because all the covenants eternal.
Yeah.
You should know to understand new covenant. You should understand the Moses covenant. You know, Christians desperately all the time wanted to get in the body of Christ and trying, you know, to have kind of term tabernacle as a symbol. No, it's a lie. If you say lie or huge hypocrisy, you know. But you are, I'm saying, not a body of the Christ. You are not a body of the Christ.
You're out of body.
Because you're out of body, because you're not in covenant even. You know? Christ's mind, Yeshua's mind, Mashiach's mind, it's a Hebrew mindset.
And this is what does it mean? Shabbat, kosher food, feast, seasons, moedim, way of living. Way of living.
Absolutely. You should come into tabernacle, you know, keep the Shabbat, boy. Start from this, you know. Or, okay.
Even vocabulary. We have to call the God of Israel. Because so many gods, you know, they're created by the religious. But we know who wrote this Bible, God of Israel. He has a title, God of Israel.
No, the Godfather.
Yeah, Godfather. No. Specific. This is in the Bible. This is in His word.
Let's read the First Peter. No. Let's finish with Paul.
Yeah, let's finish.
Paul built the churches. What a nonsense! What the lie? People spreading. Paul built the churches. One thing proves everything. Where Paul himself proved that you are wrong. That Paul built the churches. If you read Acts 28, that when Galina will find when Paul was arrested by with objection of Sadducees. Paul didn't do anything wrong in Jerusalem, but there is written Jewish were objecting because Romans haven't find anything wrong he did in Jerusalem, you know. But Jewish were objective. Who was objective? If you know the first century, Sadducees, because they were against Pharisees' teaching of resurrection and coming of Mashiach.
Yes.
And they were running. And for those first followers of Mashiach, and Paul I think he was on the side of Sadducees running and persecuting first followers of Mashiach until Mashiach met him, you know. Okay. Sadducees said, no, take him because we don't need this.
Yeah.
Jesus, Yeshua, New Jerusalem.
New Jerusalem.
No, New Jerusalem, New Israel, we don't need it. We're okay because study who are Sadducees. And Paul coming to the Rome. Yeah.
Rome, yeah.
Rome.
When he entered Rome, Paul was allowed to stay by himself with soldiers who guarding him.
We should say, Acts 15, it's a 47, somewhere 50. In Rome, he get under shackles, whatever. He was, he died in 62. He came to in 60 AD, and he was there for 2 years, and he died.
Yeah.
He died.
Yeah.
Why? When read Paul.
What is it? Continue?
Paul, for those things that the Paul build churches and create Christianity, the biggest lie on this planet. Read Paul.
When he entered Rome.
Yes.
Entered Rome, Paul was allowed to stay by himself with the soldiers who was guarding him. After 3 days, Paul called together those who were the leading men of the Jews.
Stop. Why Paul didn't go to the leaders of the church?
No, he led them to the Jews.
If you're saying in Acts 15, he wrote the letter to the churches, why he didn't go immediately to the leaders of the church? What he need to do with those Jewish leaders, which, if you're saying, already blamed him and put him in handcuffs. You know, he doesn't need to go to them.
Yeah.
But he is straight away going to the Jewish leader of the Rome, where there was 1 million of Jewish people, and around the Roman Empire, 7 million. Paul coming immediately to the leaders of Orthodox Jewish people who stay on the Moses law.
Yes, this is written, guys. And when they came together, he began saying to them, Brethren, thought I had done nothing against our people or the customs of our fathers.
I has done nothing wrong. I didn't build any church. I didn't create any Christianity against customs of our prophets, our fathers. That's mean against Torah.
Yes.
I didn't do anything
against Torah
during my life. I didn't build churches because churches goes and saying Jesus reject everything, Jesus fulfill everything. I didn't do this.
Yes.
I didn't broke any word of prophets in our fathers. Who is fathers?
Abraham, Isaac and Jacob.
Read that.
I was delivered as a prisoner from Jerusalem into the hands of the Romans.
Yes, because of Sadducees, we already told.
Yeah, and when they had examined me, they were willing to release me because there was no ground for putting me to death.
Okay, next.
But when the Jews objected, I was forced.
Sadducees Jewish, who ruled Judea.
Yes. I was forced to appeal to Caesar, not that I had my accusation against my nations. For this reason, therefore, I requested to see you and speak with you, for I am wearing this chain for the sake of the hope of Israel.
No, he didn't go to the churches. I needed to see you and read. We didn't have any letters from Jerusalem.
Okay, for the reason that I can chain for the hope of it, they say to him, we have neither received letters from Judea.
Stop. Nobody from Judea
wrote letters. Yeah, concerning you.
That's a guy is wrong in everything.
Nor have of any brethren come here and reported or spoken anything bad about you.
No one from Jerusalem.
From Judea.
Judea. Jerusalem and Judea.
Yeah.
Said you know, this guy built the church.
Yeah.
Built the churches and said, follow Jesus. Jesus said, we will fulfill. We don't need the Moses law. We don't
So
need
we
the
have
Tanakh.
nothing to against you. No letters we're receiving, nothing accusation, nothing. But we desire to hear from you what your views are. But concerning this sect, is it known to us that is spoken against everywhere?
Build Christianity. Paul wanted to put three group of people together for new era of Israel, new Hebrew nation, Judeans, the lost 10 tribes, Gentiles, and willing Goyim who wanna join this.
Yes.
And the very fast open the first Peter.
First Peter? Oh, right. Okay.
And I'm always saying, Galina, in First Peter, if you honest yourself, you will read that
First Peter.
newborn people who became newborn after crucifixion of Yeshua became 10 tribes because they were out of covenant and they've been born again through the forgiveness and through the Yeshua HaMashiach who shed blood on the cross. He didn't sign the covenant. He shed the blood on the cross for forgiveness 10 tribes, and they've been born again. Why they've been born? Why they say in Yeshua life? Because they coming back relationship with God. They become alive again as a 10 tribes. They got a chance to live their lives together under God's covenant. That's First Peter read. Only in this context, for Jewish people, they've been born again, nobody else.
Yeah.
You only can join Goyims or other nation. You can join through the Manasseh Ephraim.
Yeah.
But you cannot be born again. Read it.
So from the beginning, from the verse 1. Peter, an apostle of Jesus Christ, to those who reside as aliens.
Aliens.
Who reside as aliens.
What the Goyims living among themselves as aliens?
No. People who scattered from
somewhere.
Yeah. Scattered through the Pontus, Galatia.
Who was scattered?
After the coming,
and the proof, Joseph Flavius, he remained these places where been scattered Hebrew people in the living. Joseph Flavius, another proof. Read where? Scattered
through the Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, Bithynia, who was chosen according to the foreknowledge of God the Father.
Chosen ones.
Chosen one.
Goyim's never been chosen.
The Father.
Again?
By the sanctifying work of the Spirit.
Yes.
To obey Mashiach, Jesus Christ, and be sprinkled with His blood. May grace and peace be yours in a fullest measure.
Yeah, in context, we see they've been born again because of Yeshua.
Yeah.
That's written to 10 tribes, Hebrew
10
people.
tribes. The first letter of the Peter, the first one, the first chapter, verse 1, you can just continue.
Read the Joseph Flavius. He put in these places. Galatia, not because Galatia and how Grecian propaganda said, from Hebrew word galut, exile.
Exile.
Yes, Galicia, yes, Galicia, yes, everywhere. Even in Europe, in a few places, Galicia.
Yeah. You can just keep going. We have 1 minute. So
that's mean.
Finalize.
Judaism, Messianic Judaism, in the first century, Peter never built any churches. Peter was preaching to a group of people. Peter and Paul to bring 3 group of people for new era of Hebrew people plus Goyims. The conflict was always Moses because the Judeans, they've been saying, no, you must come circumcised, come this and this and this and this. That was always problem to talking about. Nobody, when you're reading, is saying, oh, they canceled circumcision and everything. There was absolutely.
Yes.
They built new Israel.
New Israel. So this for long time ago. And look at this, how we just drifted away. Drifted away.
Yeah.
Well, write to us, call to us. God bless. Shalom.